The reactive stream specification provides us foundational types that we can depend upon. They can give us common currency that we can use to describe asynchronous streams of data, potentially unbounded, latent streams of data. The benefit of the reactive streams types is that they give us a way to say, hey, I've got a thing that's going to produce data, and I want to subscribe. I want to register my interest in receiving that data when it's available. So we are asynchronous by default. We assume that the data isn't here right now. It may well arrive in the next nanosecond. We don't know that. It may arrive in a year. But again, there's nothing in the types themselves that give you an indication about that. That's the point. It's asynchronous. While you've registered the intent to receive the data, to process the data, you're not waiting. You can jump off the thread and somebody else can reuse that. That's the benefit of these types. But again, that's all you get out of the box. You have no mechanism to sort of process streams of data. It's all up to you to do that kind of plumbing. And this is very low-level work. Most people are not going to enjoy that kind of work. So what we recommend is that you use a toolkit that sits atop the reactive streams types. For our purposes today, for our time together in this video, we're going to be talking about Project Reactor. Project Reactor comes from the Spring team. It's a separate project, though. It doesn't need Spring to work. Quite the opposite. Nowadays, Spring needs Project Reactor to work, okay? But you could have, and you can still, use Project Reactor. Now, Reactor is a long running project. It's been around since 2011 in some form or another. It's been called Reactor that entire time. It was developed at VMware, and eventually it even found its way into Spring 4.0. Okay, so Spring 4.0 came out in what, 2014, the GA version, maybe even 2013. My memory escapes me, but the point is that's at least 5 years. Doesn't matter what number you choose. That's at least 5 years ago. We had support for using WebSockets in Spring Framework 4.0, and that support was built on Reactor under the hood, behind the scenes. You as a developer and I as a developer wouldn't have noticed it. We didn't have to interact with it, but it was there. It was already helping people scale out. In Spring Framework 5.0, we integrated Project Reactor. And so Project Reactor is a toolkit that allows you to work with reactive streams types and to process data, right? To process data coming from these reactive streams types, to let you say, hey, I want to map or flat map or filter or compose streams of data using Reactor. Now, Reactor is a vibrant community because, like I said, there's a lot of different code here. You can see that there's a lot of problems that it's already addressed, independent of Spring. You've got a reactive Reactor-based RabbitMQ driver, ditto for Kafka. You've got a Java agent called Blockhound that you can use to help discover any blocking calls in your code base. Very useful. You've got Kotlin extension functions. These are things that you can use in a Kotlin program that are not visible from within Java that give you extra support. You've got a connection pool. You've got all sorts of good stuff here that you can use to sort of build reactive applications. And if you weren't convinced, there's a lot of really good sort of introductory material here on the internet, right? Lots of good stuff that you can use here. Now, Project Reactor was developed in tandem with David Karnock over on RxJava. That's the Netflix reactive toolkit. It's think of them as sister projects, if you will. They're peers. They solve roughly the same problem. RxJava, up until recently, served Java 6. So RxJava has a strong following in the Android ecosystem because you can compile and run the code on older JVMs, which is ideal for Android, and then you could use that anywhere that you wanted to without actually giving up the backwards compatibility that you get by using an older JVM version. Nowadays, however, if you're on the server side, I'd recommend you use Reactor, right? They both benefit from the combined wisdom of the RxJava and Reactor teams. You can actually see David Karnock and so on all in the code base for Reactor, right? We did a lot of work together with both teams. Because they both work with reactive streams, if you've got existing code, you can actually take existing RxJava 2.0 code and then return those types. You can actually use them as publishers as well. And as long as you're talking about reactive streams types, it doesn't matter if it's Reactor or RxJava or Akka streams or Vertex or whatever. As long as you've got that, then it's interoperable within an application. But again, if you're starting a new project and you don't have these redundant types on the class path, why would you add them? I don't see that there's any benefit to that. Now, there's also, if you have questions, there's a Gitter channel, right? It's like a chat room where you can go and ask questions of people in the community, and we tend to maintain this where the team's pretty good about responding to questions and so on there. We also have a Stack Overflow tag that you can use, Project-Reactor, so you can find and ask questions there as well. Again, we are pretty good about monitoring that particular forum if the community doesn't beat us to it first, of course, because this community, as you can imagine, has grown really, really big with the inclusion of Reactor in Spring itself.